I think, well, Australia in general probably has a very binge drinking culture, especially among young people.
I've travelled to France, Brazil, Argentina, India, and I found Australians to be particularly strong drinkers.
Enough is enough. Depends what context, I suppose.
When I'm starting to annoy everyone too much, it's probably when enough's enough.
When I touch my face and I can't feel my face, that's it.
When your mates say so, really. So, you know, you're having a good time, blasé, you don't know really how much you've had. And if your mates think, you know, you're a bit out of control, then that's when you should put the drink down.
You want to be able to walk, basically. I don't understand the appeal of getting more drunk than that, because you're not even enjoying the party then, you're like passed out. That's not fun.
When enough is enough? How you know that? You start to maybe be a little bit dizzy, for example. You start to feel that it's not fun anymore.
I don't really drink, but it really disappoints me how much my friends drink.
You can never really tell when enough is enough, you know? Sometimes you might just do it and then realize it's too late. But in terms of drinking, I mean, if it's drinking when you can't really remember your name, I guess enough is enough.
Usually it's when I start getting a bit tipsy and then I knock a couple people on the dance floor, and then that's when I know to just rein it in.
When someone tells me that I've introduced my friend 3 times to someone.
You know, enough is enough when you walk, you can't walk properly in a straight line, or you start to stumble your words. When you hear yourself talk and you're like, oh shit, did I just say that? That's when you know enough is enough. It's when you stop.
I suppose when you can't see, it's a bit too much. Yeah, you kind of realise.
Kind of stop like knowing what you're doing kind of thing. I suppose that's too much.
Yeah, when you start saying things you don't mean, well, get brutally honest.
If you don't know what you're doing to yourself, it could have bad consequences.
You need to know your limit. I mean, you need to know that you have to be aware of yourself. I mean, if your shoes are broken or if your dress is ripped, then you should calm down and stop and go home.